Welcome back to the Cave of Wonders, Dreamwalkers. I am your Sith Lord Callous for Lord Callous TV, and this is another Rancorous review. Now, today I want to recap and review episode 3 of the Bad Batch entitled Replacements. It was a shorter episode, clocking in at about 24 minutes or so, but it was certainly the darkest of the 3 episodes so far, so let's talk about it. The beginning of this episode is nothing we haven't seen before. It picks up with the Bad Batch escaping a firefight from the previous episode, and now they have a damaged ship, so they have to crash land to make emergency replacements. We've seen this in Empire Strikes Back, The Mandalorian, Star Wars comics, and even video games. It's nothing new. Just a device to slow down some of the action and set up what's next to come. And before the team has to prepare for the crash landing, we spend some time with Omega and get to see how well she is adapting to life in space. I thought this was a pretty cool scene to see her acting like a normal teenaged girl. She doesn't seem fazed at all by her situation. She's taking life as it's being handed to her. And we get to see how the Bad Batch is also adapting to her as well, and just how much they are actually missing Crosshair. Blaming themselves, blaming the inhibitor chip, it puts them in a unique position. And I, for one, believe that Crosshair will not remain under the influence of the chip and loyal to the Empire. I think we'll see him return to the Batch by the end of this first arc, maybe 1 or 2 more episodes. Then we travel to Kamino, where Nala Se and the Governor Tarkin continue monitoring Crosshair's behavior. This gave me a Winter Soldier kind of vibe. They keep him under the influence, but there is a piece of his consciousness that we can see trying to break free. And this is what I think is concerning Tarkin the most. The uncertainty of whether or not he or any of the other clones will remain loyal to the Empire. And that's when we're introduced to a new Imperial officer named Rampart. He arrives on Kamino to oversee an Imperial project named War Mantle, which serves the purpose of recruiting elite soldiers that could prove the clones to be an unnecessary expense. Now, to test their effectiveness and loyalty, Tarkin puts Crosshair in the control of this elite squad and gives them their first mission, to return to Onderon to finish the first mission that the Bad Batch abandoned. They are to eliminate Saw Gerrera and his small band of rebels, and this is where the episode is getting its dark reputation from, and I'm here for it. The elite squad is geared up in black armor that very much resembles the well-known Death Troopers. Perhaps this is intentional to illustrate how the elite Death Troopers first come to be, or perhaps it's just a coincidence. Either way, the behavior that Crosshair displays on this particular mission is right in line with that of the Death Troopers we see on screen in Rogue One and in The Mandalorian. Openly killing soldiers and civilians without mercy, even going as far as to kill another of the elite soldiers that defies his orders. I know it might sound a little morbid, but I applaud the series for willing to go this dark route, and I hope they maintain this energy when considering some of the other live-action series we have coming in the future. Now, meanwhile, the Bad Batch is having to track down another space monster called an Ordo Moon Dragon that feeds on raw energy. It steals the crew's newly replaced capacitor and runs off into the night, leaving Hunter and Omega to track it. Echo and Tech remain on board the ship to continue working on repairs, and Wrecker was injured in the crash landing, so he too stays on the ship. And while I was happy to get some more Hunter and Omega alone time, I wish they could have put them in a different scenario. Chasing down a monster that feeds off pure energy was more of the same cliche plot points that we got in the beginning of the episode. But once the father-daughter duo locate the Moon Dragon, it's Omega who manages to retrieve the capacitor without actually harming the beast. And the show ends on a sentimental note, with Wrecker leveling up and creating Omega her own little living space in the ship. Now, I enjoyed this episode in spite of the recycled plot points. The choice to make this episode as dark as they did really gave me some hope for the future. It let me know that Disney is willing to take the gloves off and get a little dirty if the story requires it to. That excites me for the prospects of The Acolyte, Kenobi, and the Book of Boba Fett. But from this entire episode, I think I was most taken by the conversation between Nala Se and the Prime Minister at the end, and the implication that we may see the cloning of Force users, or at least an attempt. Immediately my thoughts jumped to the Mandalorian with Dr. Pershing and Grogu. This is right at the time of Order 66, and we know that Grogu must have been in the Jedi Temple. Could perhaps the Bad Batch be dispatched to retrieve Grogu for the Kaminoans, in exchange for Crosshair's freedom from the inhibitor chip? We know the Prime Minister does not want to lose the relationship they have with the Empire, and in The Mandalorian, Dr. Pershing is in fact still working with the remnant of the Empire. So was Grogu in their possession this whole time? Did the Bad Batch maybe find him and then not give him up? Could this give us a connection with Omega and Grogu? I don't know, but you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new here to the channel, subscribe and hit that like button. Then turn on notifications so you can join the Dreamwalkers on our galactic YouTube journey. Now I'd like to thank my channel members John Matrix, Rhodes, Rance, Biggles, Metz, Callisto, Arcus, and Keaton Haas. Thank you so much for your support. Always remember, peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion I gain strength. Through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory, and through victory my chains are broken. The Force shall free me. That is why I do what I love, and I hope you love what I do. This has been a Rancorous review. Until next time.